On this a peerless martial arts grandmaster who led my Jiang family to the pinnacle of Jiang City. And you, Lin Bufan, are nothing but a stinking security. The scene opens to absolute chaos inside the packed New York gym. People are already down on the floor, coughing up blood, completely paralyzed. The surrounding crowd of wealthy heirs and martial arts elites are staring in absolute shock. This is impossible. They shriek in disbelief. How can this even happen? Suddenly, a guy in a sharp black suit steps out, his face flushed with panic. He points directly at Lin Bufan and screams at the top of his lungs. I figured it out. It has to be you. You hired a hidden master to ambush us from behind. He gulps hard, gaining unearned confidence as he goes on. What kind of top-tier martial arts is that? You're just forcing out raw physical explosive power. Stop trying to trick us with these illusions. Standing right behind Lin Bufan, the young master and lady of the Liu family look relieved. They grab onto this wild theory like a literal lifeline, finally catching their breath. That's when the head of the Hong family steps forward, cold laughing through the crowd. With a sinister glare locked onto Lin Bufan, he speaks in a deep booming voice. So that is your little trick. You got busted, kid. You only did this to intimidate everyone so no one would dare challenge the Jiang family. Too bad for you, your luck just ran out today. The head of the Hong family is practically bursting with overconfidence right now. He cracks his wrists, looking at Lin Bufan with pure provocation. A genius like me will never fall for your cheap tricks. Keep pushing, men. The moment the words leave his mouth, he drops into a fighting stance and roars. Show me what you've got. His entire body surges with raw power, his clothes rustling as if hit by a sudden gale. The dust beneath his boots kicks up, and the air in the gym instantly freezes. Someone in the crowd recognizes the move and gasps in sheer terror. Oh my god, that is the legendary Iron Fist technique of the Hong family. The head of the Hong family charges forward like a literal hurricane. He lunges straight at Lin Bufan with terrifying, aggressive momentum. Down by the stage, the rich heirs just cross their arms wearing smug faces. They are fully expecting a one-sided beatdown. One guy even sneers under his breath. The kid is probably so terrified his legs have turned to jelly. Look, he can't even move. In their eyes, Lin Bufan is already a dead man walking, but nobody could have predicted what happens next. Facing a punch that feels as heavy as a collapsing mountain, Lin Bufan doesn't even blink. A faint, dismissive smirk plays on the corner of his lips. Just as Hong's fist is about to smash into his face, Lin Bufan moves. He simply raises a single hand and counters with a casual direct punch. A deafening, muffled crash echoes through the entire room. It's instantly followed by the sickening sound of shattering bones and a blood-curdling scream. The once unstoppable head of the Hong family flies backward like a broken kite. He sails over 30 feet through the air, crashing violently into a weapon rack. The heavy wooden rack splinters into 1,000 pieces. He slumps onto the floor, spitting out a massive puddle of blood. His eyes roll back, and he passes out cold on the spot. The entire gym drops into a dead, suffocating silence. The wealthy heirs who were just laughing a second ago are now staring with wide eyes. Their jaws are practically touching the floor. One guy rubs his eyes, stammering in complete shock. One hit. He finished him in just one hit. How is this even possible? The younger generation of the Jiang family goes wild with excitement. They clap instantly, cheering at the top of their lungs. Brother-in-law is a beast. You are absolutely incredible. Even the old masters who were casually watching are completely stunned now. They nod their heads in rapid succession, totally blown away. He is truly a beast. Being a prodigy doctor at his age is wild enough, but to have this kind of god-tier martial power, the kid is a literal monster. Yet, the guy in the black suit refuses to back down. His teeth are clenched so hard his face is visibly twitching. He points a shaking finger at Lin Bufan, cursing viciously. A genius like you will definitely shake the entire world, but don't get cocky. The Wu and Zheng families will never let you get away with this. Right then another master from a rival family steps out, adding fuel to the fire. Stop wasting words on this brat, just cripple him. Let's all rush him together. Hearing their loud threats, Lin Bufan doesn't even get angry. Instead, he just lets out a helpless sigh. He extends a single finger, curling it mockingly toward the entire crowd. He delivers his words slowly, emphasizing every single syllable. I'm telling you guys, stop wasting my time. Come at me all at once, and if you don't have the guts, then get the hell out of my sight. The moment he says this, it feels like a literal slap to the face of every elite family present. These proud masters have never been insulted like this in their entire lives. They are absolutely furious, their blood boiling with rage. What arrogant nonsense. This punk is completely out of his mind. I want to see exactly how many hits your hidden master can actually take from us. Following a series of angry roars, the young elites of the Wu and Zheng families move. Along with several other unknown factions, they leap onto the stage in unison. In a split second, they completely encircle Lin Bufan right in the center. The kid must be sweating bullets right now. Someone mocks from below. Up on the stage, Lin Bufan merely lets out out a cold laugh. He delivers a calm, devastating one-liner. "I just wanted to say everyone standing here is absolute trash. You are dead meat. Get him." This completely crosses the line, driving the masters into a total frenzy. They strike simultaneously, unleashing a flurry of fists and kicks that blur the air. Yet Lin Bufon navigates the chaos with absolute ease. His movements are as fast as a flash of lightning. The air fills with the rapid thuds of impact mixed with agonizing screams. In less than 3 seconds, sharp cracks of snapping bones echo through the gym. The elite masters scream in agony as they are sent flying off the stage together. They hit the ground hard, vomiting blood and rolling around in pure agony. Seeing this, the high-ranking elders who were casually watching completely lose their composure. Their faces turn incredibly pale. One of them gasps loudly, his voice trembling uncontrollably. How can this be? One move took down all our top family masters. What kind of terrifying power does this guy actually have? Just as the entire crowd is completely paralyzed by Lin Bufon's terrifying display, the crowd parts. An elderly man wearing a dark traditional robe slowly walks out. The moment he appears, an incredibly heavy pressure fills the entire room. The air itself feels dense and suffocating. Someone in the crowd instantly screams in shock. It's Master Zhang. Oh my god, even Master Zhang has been drawn out. The desperate heirs instantly find their hope again upon seeing him. They swarm around him, talking over one another in a panic. "Master Zhang, you have to get justice for us. This kid is way too arrogant. He completely looks down on all of us New York families." Master Zhang keeps his hands behind his back, walking proudly up to Lin Bufon. He sizes him up with a critical glare, letting out a cold snort. "Pimp, young man, you are just a fighter hired by the Zhang family. How dare you act so reckless here? Do you really think New York has no real talent left? I have dominated this city for decades and seen every kind of master imaginable. Who do you think you are, flexing your muscles here today? You are nothing more than a cheap pawn in someone else's game, kid." Faced with Master Zhang trying to use his age to assert dominance, Lin Bufon doesn't even look at him. He shoves his hands into his pockets, rolling his eyes in utter boredom. "Listen, old man, stop acting like you are a big deal just because you are old. Did you throw your back out just walking over here? You haven't even fought yet, so stop barking. You arrogant brat, you are asking for death." Master Zhang has lived a long life and has never suffered this level of humiliation. He explodes into a fierce rage, his energy instantly skyrocketing. As he slowly raises his hands, a sudden gust of wind sweeps through the indoor hall. Even more shocking, a faint blue light begins to frantically gather on his palms. The surrounding crowd gasps in terror, scrambling backward to open up space. Oh my god, is this the true peak of power? Master Zhang has actually pushed his energy to this extreme level. The kid is done for. The young master and lady of the Li family are practically glowing with smug satisfaction. They watch from the sidelines with malicious grins. The Zhang family is completely finished this time. Let's see how this brat dies. Master Zhang roars at the top of his lungs. "Today I will show you what real power looks like, you insolent brat. Kneel down." With a ferocious shout, he hurls his hands forward. The devastating blue energy surges directly toward Lin Bufon's chest. But facing this terrifying attack, Lin Bufon just lets out a chilling laugh. He doesn't even bother making a big move. The exact moment the gust of energy reaches him, he throws a casual, effortless punch. As his fist cuts through the air, a faint echoing roar of a dragon fills the room. A streak of golden light instantly wraps around his arm like a dragon. The two opposing forces collide in mid-air with a deafening explosion. Master Zhang's seemingly terrifying blue energy is instantly torn to shreds. It offers no more resistance than a piece of cheap tissue paper against the golden dragon. Master Zhang lets out a painful shriek as the massive counterforce slams into him. He is forced violently down onto one knee, shattering the floor tiles beneath him into dust. He vomits a massive amount of blood, his face turning paper white. The supreme arrogance in his eyes is completely replaced by a deep endless terror. Lin Bufon walks up to him, looking down with cold, piercing eyes. "The one who needs to kneel is you. Weren't you acting all tough just a second ago?" Master Zhang clutches his chest, blood dripping from his mouth as he trembles violently. You defeated me in just one single move. I couldn't even last one hit." The high-ranking elders of the various families are now completely terrified out of their minds. Even an old-school elite master like Master Zhang couldn't last a single second against Lin Bufon. New York is about to experience a massive shift in power. The Liu family heirs are so terrified, they collapse onto the floor shaking like leaves. Zhang Guozhong and Zhang Qingling watch silently from the back. Although they already knew Lin Bufon was powerful, they are still deeply shaken every single time. This overwhelming absolute dominance is just breathtaking. The representatives of the rival families lose every ounce of their previous arrogance. They rush forward to play peacemaker, desperately urging the Li family to give up. "Just surrender, young Master Liu. Live to fight another day. Don't throw your life away." Lin Bufon lets out a cold snort, his sharp gaze sweeping across the entire room. He makes a proud, absolute declaration. Surrender is a word that does not exist in my vocabulary. The so-called geniuses of New York are nothing more than tiny insects in my eyes. If you don't want to die, start following the rules right now. At this point, young Master Lieutenant still tries to act tough, straining his neck to yell, "Don't get too cocky, you are just a low-life security guard hiding behind the Zhang family. There is absolutely no way the Liu family will hand over a fifth of our entire business empire. That is our lifeblood. It is an astronomical amount of money, don't even dream about it." Hearing this, Lin Bufan's eyes instantly turn ice cold. Without saying a word, he raises his boot, aiming it straight down at Lieutenant's head. If this boot lands, Lieutenant's head will pop like a literal watermelon. Sensing the very real, terrifying killing intent, Lieutenant completely snaps. He curls into a tight ball, screaming hysterically at the top of his lungs, "Stop, don't step her. I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you. Our Liu family surrenders. We will hand over the fifth of our empire." Seeing the Liu family completely submit, Zhang Guoshang and the elders finally breathe a sigh of relief. Jiang Guosong instantly walks tall, locking his hands behind his back. He walks into the center of the hall with a massive triumphant grin. He looks askance at the family heads who used to look down on him, feeling incredibly smug. The attitude of the wealthy heirs and elders takes a total 180-degree turn. They immediately start calling Lin Bufan the King of New York. They shower Zhang Guozhang with endless, desperate flattery. "Old Zhang, you hit the jackpot with this son-in-law. With such a young top-tier powerhouse, the Zhang family is going to shoot straight to the moon." Amidst the endless praise and terrified, respectful glances, the storm finally settles. Zhang Qingling just watches her husband silently from the side, her eyes filled with deep affection. The scene cuts to late that night. After the massive battle, Lin Bufan and Zhang Qingling finally return to their private bedroom. Zhang Qingling has changed into a stunning black silk nightgown, highlighting her perfect curves. She leans against the headboard with a slight pout, looking at Lin Bufan, who is drinking tea nearby. "You absolute blockhead," she grumbles crossly. "You ate so many nutritious supplements at dinner tonight. Don't you even know to come over and talk to me? My mom prepared all that good food for nothing." Hearing this, Lin Bufan rubs his nose in sheer embarrassment, letting out a couple of awkward chuckles. "Honey, I was a bit distracted at the banquet today. I didn't expect those rich heirs to be so annoying." Zhang Qingling lets out a cold snort, crossing her arms and rolling her eyes dramatically. "Hemp, thank God, I was there to save the day. Now level with me. What exactly happened in the main gym today? Didn't you tell me before you never trained a day in your life?" Lin Bufan is just about to make up another excuse when a shocking phenomenon suddenly occurs. As he sits there, a gentle localized aura begins to materialize out of thin air around him. Following that, a soft but pure golden light radiates from deep within his body. The glowing energy lights up the entire bedroom instantly. Even more unbelievable, Lin Bufan's body begins to lift off the ground, carried by the aura. He is now literally levitating in midair. Zhang Qingling shocks out of bed, her hands instantly flying to cover her mouth. Her eyes are completely wide as she stares at this literal miracle. Zhang Qingling is completely mesmerized by the sight. According to the ancient texts, a supreme powerhouse of this caliber can eliminate enemies from thousands of miles away. They can traverse the world at will, existing as living gods on earth. She looks at Lin Bufan, who looks incredibly divine, bathed in the brilliant golden light. Her voice shakes uncontrollably. "My dear immortal master, how much longer are you going to keep pretending? Tell me the truth right now. Are you even human?" After a moment, Lin Bufan slowly brings his energy to a halt, his boots touching the floor softly. The golden light and aura gradually fade away into nothingness. He instantly reverts back to his usual, slightly lazy, completely ordinary self. Seeing his wife scared out of her wits, Lin Bufan gives an embarrassed, boyish grin. He walks over and gently takes Zhang Qingling's hand, trying to lighten the heavy mood. "Honey, stop teasing me. I don't even know how to train properly. I am definitely not an immortal master. I am just a humble security guard. If I really have a powerful force backing me up, it's definitely my father-in-law. He is the mastermind behind everything. I just want to be a spoiled husband living off your wealth." Despite the absolute shock storming through her mind, she sees his usual playful behavior. She knows he simply wants to keep a low profile. She rolls her eyes, pulling her hand back with an adorable pout. "Hemp, I don't believe a single word you say. You absolute blockhead. You do nothing but act and lie to me all day long. I am ignoring you." With that, she turns around and dives under the covers, wrapping herself tight like a burrito. Lin Bufan looks at his wife's back, a warm, gentle smile spreading across his face. He shakes his head softly and sits down by the edge of the bed to watch over her. The next morning, the head of the Liu family and young Master Liu arrive at the Jiang estate again, only this time their attitude is beyond respectful. They are incredibly humble to their very bones. The moment Master Liu enters, he bows repeatedly to Jiang Guoshang, who is sitting in the main chair. "Old Jiang, your son-in-law Lin Bufan has a truly terrifying power backing him up. He is incredible. Our Liu family is completely totally defeated this time. We accept our loss. From now on in in New York, the Liu family will follow the Jiang family's lead. Whatever you say goes. Jiang Guoshang sits in the prime seat, holding his teacup, his vanity completely satisfied. He proudly crosses his legs, letting out a smug snort. At least your Liu family knows what is good for you. As long as you behave yourselves from now on, we can get along just fine. But if you ever dare to act tough around me again, don't blame my son-in-law for destroying you. Master Liu and young Master Liu can only nod, along with awkward smiles, agreeing repeatedly. But right when the atmosphere in the hall seems completely harmonious, chaos breaks out outside. Loud shouting and several agonizing screams echo from the courtyard. Immediately following the noise, heavy arrogant footsteps approach the room. The heavy mahogany doors of the hall are violently kicked open with a massive crash. A young man wearing a sharp green tracksuit walks in, his eyes cold and predatory like a snake. He struts into the room with a gang of aggressive henchmen behind him. The moment he steps inside, his venomous gaze sweeps across the room, locking instantly onto Lin Bufan. He lets out a cold laugh, pointing a finger directly at Lin Bufan's nose with supreme arrogance. So you are Lin Bufan, the security guard who dared to injure our family masters. You've got some nerve, kid. Today, I'm personally going to teach you a lesson. Let's see exactly how much longer you can keep acting tough. Faced with this sudden, aggressive provocation, Jiang Guozhang's face instantly turns incredibly dark. He slams his hand on the table and stands up in a rage. But Lin Bufan remains completely calm, a faint, unbothered smirk appearing on his lips. He slowly stands up, stretching his limbs casually. In a split second his eyes turn incredibly cold, locking onto the clueless thug who just walked in. A brand new storm is clearly about to unleash inside the Jiang family hall. In this exact moment, the air in the room completely freezes solid. The elite family leader, Ren Waxing, steps into the room with an unstoppable aggressive stride. Ren Waxing is dressed in a striking black and red traditional jacket, his hands locked behind his back. His expression is filled with pure malice and utter contempt for everyone present. The moment he opens his mouth, his booming voice shakes the entire hall like a physical force. It's immediately obvious that he didn't come here today as a friendly guest. He is here to demand absolute vengeance for his son-in-law Liu Jiayang and Liu Tianyi. In Ren Waxing's eyes, Lin Bufan injuring those two wealthy heirs publicly is an unforgivable crime. The leader of the Jiang family, Jiang Guozhang, takes one look at this terrifying setup and trembles. His legs turn to absolute jelly from sheer panic. Ren Waxing glances around the room with a smug grin, revealing a massive shocking secret. My son-in-law, Liu Jiayang, is no longer the man he used to be. He has been taken in as a personal disciple by the leader of the mysterious Qingyun sect, Master Qilian. The moment Jiang Guoshang hears the phrase, half-step master, his soul practically leaves his body. He loses every single ounce of his courage instantly. He changes his demeanor completely, grabbing his wife and the entire family to bow frantically. He begs Ren Waxing to show them a single shred of mercy. As long as you spare our lives, you can take everything. Jiang Guozhang stammers, shaking violently. We will hand over every single asset of the Jiang family without hesitation. However, standing right at the back, Lin Bufan and his wife, Zhang Qingling, just watch coldly, right as Jiang Guoshang is making a total fool of himself begging for mercy. A maniacal laugh echoes. Ren Waxing's son-in-law, Liu Jiayang, walks in wearing a long black trench coat. He is walking with supreme arrogance, his arm wrapped tightly around a woman in a black dress. With Liu Tianyi following close behind, he makes a loud high-profile entrance into the hall. The moment Liu Jiayang steps inside, he points his finger directly at Lin Bufan's nose. His eyes are filled with pure sadistic pleasure as he roars at the crowd. I want Lin Bufan and every single member of the Jiang family on their knees, begging for mercy, and then, I am going to personally snap every single bone in Lin Bufan's body. Ren Waxing just stands by and watches the brutality unfold, making no effort to stop his son-in-law. Instead, he gives him silent permission to be as reckless as he wants. Even the mayor, who steps forward to try and defuse the situation, gets completely blasted by Liu Jiayang. He refuses to show a single shred of respect to anyone. The tense atmosphere inside the hall is instantly pushed to an absolute suffocating peak, but right when the villains think they have total control over the room, the unexpected happens. Without any warning, a thick, ominous black mist materializes out of nowhere in the center of the hall. Accompanied by a powerful pressure, a middle-aged man in a massive black cloak appears, sporting a sharp goatee. The leader of the Qingyun sect, Master Qilian, steps out like a demon. Seeing their ultimate backing and master arrive, Liu Jiayang and Ren Waxing are absolutely thrilled. They literally jog over to him, showering him with desperate sycophantic flattery. Liu Jiayang wastes no time playing the victim, immediately making a false accusation. He cries to his master, begging him to get bloody revenge for him and Liu Tianyi. Master, you have to completely destroy this arrogant little security guard right now. Master Qilian lets out a cold snort, unleashing a terrifying wave of pressure that crushes the room. Faced with the overwhelming aura of this ultimate villain, the spineless Jiang Guozhang collapses. With a loud thud, he drops straight to his knees right at Master Qilian's boots. He starts slamming his forehead against the floor while turning turning back to scream hysterically at Lin Bufan. Kneel down right now and beg young Master Zhao Yang for forgiveness. Don't drag our family down. Standing nearby, Lu Tianyi crosses his arms, a smug grin plastered across his face. You are just a pathetic guy living off a wealthy family, he mocks Lin Bufan viciously. Now that your own backing is throwing you to the wolves, let's see how tough you are. Right when everyone is waiting to see Lin Bufan get destroyed, a sharp, furious voice cuts through. The celebration of the villains is instantly shattered. Lin Bufan's wife, the beautiful Zhang Qingling, steps forward without a single shred of hesitation. She places her body directly in front of Lin Bufan, shielding him completely. Her eyes are blazing with pure fury as she glares at the arrogant Lu Tianyi. Then she turns her gaze onto Lu Zhaoyang, pointing right at his nose and blasting him. You are nothing but a brainless idiot who only knows how to bully people. Lu Zhaoyang has always been incredibly arrogant, and being publicly humiliated by a woman snaps his temper. His eyes turn bloodshot, his entire body shaking with pure rage as his knuckles pop loudly. He screams hysterically, unleashing a vicious threat. If Lin Bufan doesn't fight me today, I will personally break your arms first. Then, I will make him experience a living hell that is a million times worse than death. Lin Bufan gently pats his wife's shoulder, giving her a calm, reassuring look to ease her mind. Then he slowly steps out from behind her, stretching his arms casually with a completely unbothered look. How about this? Lin Bufan says in a deeply calm, nonchalant voice. I'll let you make the first move. Hearing this, Lu Zhaoyang feels deeply insulted, his ego completely taking a massive hit. He lets out a furious roar, unleashing every single ounce of his hidden explosive power. He throws a devastating mountain-splitting punch that literally tears through the air with a loud swoosh. The fist flies straight toward Lin Bufan's chest with lethal force. In that exact second, Zhang Guoshang covers his eyes in sheer horror, believing Lin Bufan is a dead man. However, Lin Bufan just stands there like a stone statue, not moving an inch. He doesn't even bother to raise his hands to defend himself, taking the hit with his bare chest. Right when everyone expects Lin Bufan to be smashed into pieces, a literal miracle occurs. Lu Zhaoyang's fully charged, lethal punch slams heavily with overwhelming, mountain-flattening force. Before Lu Zhaoyang can even let out a scream, he vomits a massive spray of blood. His body flies backward through the air like a broken kite, drawing a pathetic arc across the hall. He crashes violently through the heavy wooden tables and chairs, smashing them to pieces. His eyes roll back into his head, and he knocks out cold on the floor instantly. The entire hall plunges into a dead, terrified silence. Master Chilean, Ren Waxing Zhang Guozhong, and the mayor stand frozen, their jaws completely dropped. The once unstoppable leader of the Qingyun sect is now totally bewildered. His sinister eyes lock onto Lin Bufan, a massive storm of panic raging inside his mind. Because even with his immense strength, he cannot detect a single shred of energy from Lin Bufan. He begins to suspect that a hidden master is lurking in the shadows, using cheap tricks. However, after confirming there is no one else around, his arrogance flares up once more. You are not a true martial master at all, he declares with a cold, dismissive sneer. You are just a freak who was born with abnormal physical strength, but in front of a real grandmaster, raw physical strength is absolutely worthless. The overconfident Master Chilean begins to slowly walk toward Lin Bufan, speaking with supreme arrogance. Kid, I can grant you a single chance. In her eyes is completely replaced by deep adoration. Like a proud, loving wife, she tightly wraps her arms around Lin Bufan's arm in front of everyone. She calls out with a blushing face, her voice filled with absolute pride. My husband is simply too handsome.
Deep within the waters of Puget Sound in Washington State, nestled on the fringes of Seattle, lay an obscure coastal town. This land could hardly be described as affluent. In fact, it seemed left behind by the sweeping tides of industrialization. Overcast skies dominated the year, where a fine persistent drizzle mingled with biting Pacific winds, carving the briny scent of the sea deep into every inch of the air, every building, and the very bones of its inhabitants. For generations, the people here led a primitive, ruling existence, living off the sea. Men cast off into the piercing cold at 4 in the morning to fish, while women spent their days in crude markets, chipping ice and selling the catch, their hands perpetually covered in chilblains from long hours in the freezing water. Day after day, year after year, the heavy burden of survival battered them like ocean waves. Yet, it never altered the impoverished backdrop of this land. However, within this seemingly ordinary, nearly stagnant coastal village, an undercurrent of a commercial storm was quietly brewing, poised to alter their destiny. With a harsh, heavy screech, the weathered wooden door of the town hall office was thrust open. The mayor walked in with heavy steps, his brow furrowed deeply, carving pronounced wrinkles into his forehead. His face, weathered by a lifetime of hardship, was so dark it looked as though it could drip water. In his hand, he gripped a red-headed official document he had just retrieved from higher authorities. His knuckles were white from the sheer force of his grasp. Scanning the core residents seated around a table covered in dark green velvet fabric, he exhaled a long, heavy sigh. His voice was low and raspy, yet filled with an undeniable authority and power. You all know the current political and economic climate. The government has made a firm resolve to fully encourage qualified businesses and enterprises to expand into overseas markets and increase export scales. For our backward town, which is on the verge of being phased out by the era, this is not just a piece of paper. This is our single, solitary chance to turn our fates around. He paused, slamming the document heavily onto the table. His bloodshot, weathered eyes flashed with a complex mixture of anxiety and hope. If we can successfully negotiate this international trade cooperation, we won't just be answering the higher policy call. Most crucially and realistically, we will earn hard foreign exchange for our town. With that money, our schools, roads, and docks will all be saved. However, Evan, sitting at the very end of the long table, was absent-mindedly clicking a ballpoint pen with peeling paint. His expression was far from ignited by the mayor's impassioned speech. Instead, his gaze was locked onto a piece of scratch paper before him, filled with densely packed numbers. He scribbled and erased repeatedly, his brow knitted into a massive knot, a palpable anxiety nearly overflowing from between his eyes. After a moment, he slowly raised his head to meet the mayor's burning, expectant gaze. He sighed, his voice heavy with helplessness and exhaustion. Mayor, the ideal is indeed beautiful, but reality is often far crueler than we imagine. The cost of long-distance ocean freight right now is practically a bottomless pit. Seafood isn't like other goods. Its shelf life is far too short, and its requirements for the cold chain and transit times are strict to the extreme. If we encounter storms midway, delaying the transit time, or if the refrigeration equipment suffers even a minor malfunction, the entire ship's cargo will rot completely. That kind of loss would be an astronomical figure for us. Even if we take 10,000 steps back and assume this batch of goods safely reaches the docks of the US West Coast and sells successfully, once you deduct the exorbitant international freight, high commercial insurance premiums, and unavoidable natural spoilage, how much actual profit will be left to line the pockets of our hard-working fishermen? For all we know, we might lose our very capital in the end. Evan's profoundly rational, chilling words were like a bucket of ice water poured ruthlessly over their heads, instantly freezing the restless, burning air in the office. Yes, this was the exact cruelest and most unavoidable reality staring them in the face. Empty talk of ideals and passion could not fill the hungry bellies of hundreds of people. Without actual technical support, any grand blueprint was nothing more than a mirage. Just as the meeting fell into a deathly deadlock, with everyone on the benches hanging their heads in silence under a suffocating atmosphere, a very gentle knock sounded on the heavy wooden door. Following that, the door cracked open and Scarlett quietly appeared at the entrance, accompanied by her two young children. Today, she wore a slightly faded but clean and neat light floral shirt with two long braids hanging meekly over her chest. The elegance she radiated felt completely detached from this noisy, anxious environment, though her face looked somewhat pale due to injuries that had not yet fully healed. Her clear eyes shone with an unparalleled brightness and composure. The sudden appearance of the children was like a breath of fresh, cool air, instantly bringing a touch of vitality to the serious, rigid, and second-hand smoke-filled meeting room. Seeing his wife suddenly show up, a flash of deep surprise crossed Evan's face, which was quickly replaced by endless confusion and heartache. He bolted upright, walked over quickly, and spoke with a hint of reproach. Though his eyes were filled with unconcealed concern, "What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to rest well at home?" Saying this, he turned his head, pretending to be angry as he looked at the two little ones hiding behind his wife. "And you two little rascals, what did you promise, Daddy? I told you to stay at home and take good care of Mommy. Why did you bring her here instead?" What if her wounds reopen? Facing her husband's rapid-fire barbs of criticism and concern, Scarlett remained unbothered, a gentle smile even playing at the corners of her mouth. She reached out softly, gently caressing the bewildered little heads of her two children, then looked up. Though her tone was calm, it carried an extraordinary firmness as she explained to the mayor at the head of the table. Evan, don't blame the children. It was my own choice to come over. Lying at home was doing no good. My heart was constantly anxious about the situation here. Besides, I reapplied my medicine last night, and my body really isn't in any serious trouble. Walking a few steps counts as clearing my head. That composure and determination, which transcended that of an ordinary housewife, compelled the few town officials present, who originally held a dismissive view of women, to secretly look up to her. Looking at this new bride of extraordinary temperament and refined speech, the mayor's face, once as dark as water, finally cracked into a smile that had not been seen for days. He even stood up proactively, greeting her politely. "Oh, this must be Evan's newly wedded bride, right? I've long heard you are well-read and reasonable. Seeing you today, you truly are beautiful, with a grace that is 1 in 100. However, Scarlett did not lose her bearings in these polite pleasantries and compliments, nor did she display any girlish bashfulness. Her sharp perception had allowed her to pinpoint the core conflict of the meeting the moment she stepped inside. While standing outside the door, she had heard Evan's concerns regarding the difficulties of long-distance seafood transport and the high preservation costs loud and clear. Faced with this fatal conundrum that had left the entire town helpless, she did not shrink or falter in the slightest. Instead, she took a deep breath, and under the astonished gazes of everyone, she spoke her mind bluntly. "Everyone, I heard your concerns outside just now. Since transporting fresh, live fish and seafood across the ocean carries too much risk and cost, why must we obsess over shipping them alive? We can completely change our thinking. We can take these freshly caught marine products and perform deep processing right here on site, turning them into sealed cans that can be preserved long-term and easily transported, then sell them directly to foreign buyers. This way, not only are the problems of preservation and spoilage resolved, but we can also increase the added value of the product, earning higher profits." When this bold and progressive proposal was voiced, the meeting room fell silent for a brief moment. Before Evan could even react, the mayor let out a helpless, long sigh, shaking his head repeatedly, his face painted with an unspeakable regret and desolation. "Scarlett, the method you mentioned is actually something we considered before. Everyone understands the logic. Processing into cans is indeed the best way out. But the harsh reality is that our domestic industrial canning assembly lines and machinery are far too backward right now. The sealing and sterilization indexes we produce cannot meet their export inspection standards at all. Worse of all, the core manufacturing technology and patents for high-precision industrial canning machines are tightly monopolized by those powerful overseas mega conglomerates. They would never sell them to us. We have neither the technology nor the equipment right now. Your idea sounds beautiful, but in reality, it is no different from chasing a pipe dream." Hearing the mayor's near-hopeless assertion, Scarlett did not lose heart. Instead, she turned her gaze toward the crude machine schematic on the table, which was covered in dense lines and glaring flaws. Her clear eyes grew increasingly firm and burning at this moment. Under the astonished, puzzled, and even skeptical gazes of everyone present, she slowly stepped forward, naturally reaching out to take the paper and pen from Evan's hand. At that moment, the extraordinary calmness and confidence radiating from her body seemed to carry an invisible, powerful aura, causing everyone in the room to involuntarily close their mouths and turn their heads to watch. Scarlett pulled over a chair and sat down, flattening the paper on the table. Taking a deep breath, she began to sketch masterfully on the paper. Her movements possessed not a shred of hesitation or doubt. Her lines were fluid and precise, as if measured with a compass and ruler. From the transmission ratios of the core power levers inside the canning machine to the meshing structures of every miniature gear used for high-pressure sealing, a miracle unfolded, accompanied by the fine rhythmic scratching of her pen against the white paper. An extremely complex, precise mechanical structural diagram, completely aligned with modern industrial logic, gradually took shape right before their eyes. Evan stood quietly behind her from beginning to end. The expression on his face evolved from initial confusion and skepticism to shock, until finally his entire body froze in place, his mouth slightly agape, completely dumbfounded. He could not, for the life of him, connect this hardcore woman capable of masterfully drawing high-precision industrial blueprints with the virtuous assistant, who usually managed household chores and quietly cared for him and the children at home. The psychological shock of this massive contrast was absolute. At that moment, the once noisy town hall meeting room became dead silent. One could hear a pin drop. The air seemed to stop flowing, leaving only the fine scratching sound of Scarlett's pen moving across the paper. In the eyes of everyone, those were no longer simple lines. That was the sound of hope pulsing, the prelude to changing the destiny of the entire town. Over the next fortnight and a half, this coastal town experienced a heart-pounding, cruel race against time. Under the guidance of Scarlett's precise design blueprint, the core forces of the entire town worked day and night to modify and construct a brand new canning production line that met the standards. However, fate always loves to play tricks at critical moments, just as the foreign inspection delegation was about to arrive, and both parties were set to conduct the most vital core commercial negotiations. The chief translator, whom the town had spent a fortune to hire from a major city and who carried the entire burden of communication, suddenly came down with a high fever due to unacclimatization and overwork, ending up hospitalized. This sudden, terrible news was nothing short of a bolt from the blue, casting a thick shadow over the already precarious cooperation. Seeing the foreign businessmen's vehicles already driving into town, if the negotiations collapsed due to a communication breakdown, all prior investments would vanish into thin air. Just as Evan was pacing back and forth in the corridor like an ant on a hot pan, nearly pulling his hair out in anxiety, it was Scarlett again. She said little. She simply walked calmly to her husband's side, handed him a cup of warm water, and then, in her usual reassuring tone, stepped forward with effortless grace to take on this daunting task that outsiders deemed nearly impossible. On the morning of the negotiation, inside the narrow, red-carpeted corridor of the town guest house, the atmosphere in the air became exceptionally subtle and oppressive. Right at this moment, the villainous couple who usually acted arrogant and tyrannical in town due to their slight family background stood squarely in the path. Scarlett had to take to the negotiation room, dressed in what they considered highly respectable, expensive suits and Western dresses. They stood with their arms crossed, malicious, mocking sneers plastered across their faces. Their eyes were filled with jealousy and disdain, and the words they spewed were sharp and venomous, echoing harshly in the empty corridor. "Oh, look who it is! Isn't this our town's notorious pair of counterfeit frauds? Scarlett, why don't you take a good look in the mirror with just you and that destitute husband of yours who spends all day dealing with stinking fish and shrimp? Do you really think putting on a clean set of clothes makes you fit to handle international mega business? What an absolute joke! I suggest you roll out of here right now. Don't stand there unable to utter a single word of a foreign tongue when you meet the Honorable Mr. William later. Let's see how you'll salvage the situation then, after humiliating our entire town." However, faced with such direct, insulting provocation, Scarlett did not even pause her steps. She stopped slightly, not even granting the couple a direct look. Instead, the corners of her delicate mouth curled upward slightly, tracing a highly ironic arc. This lofty ignorance inadvertently released a powerful psychological pressure. In her eyes, the frantic barking of these clownish buffoons was merely a self-orchestrated performance of impotent rage, unworthy of even provoking her anger. She elegantly reached down, smoothing smoothing out the creases in her skirt. Then, under Evan's admiring gaze and the villainous couple's eyes, which were filled with unwilling fury, nearly spitting fire, she stepped forward with a composed stride and full presence, pushing open the door and walking straight into the negotiation room that would decide their fate. Inside the negotiation room, Mr. William, the representative from the multinational conglomerate, sat casually at the head of the long table, dressed in a fine suit with his hair immaculately combed. He tried his best to maintain business etiquette. Yet, his slightly leaning back posture, arrogant expression, and the occasional flicker of contempt and disdain in the depths of his eyes toward this group of simply dressed fishermen laid his deep-seated superiority bare. In his subconscious mind, this inspection was merely a routine formality. He did not believe this backward town could produce anything decent. However, when Scarlett pulled back her chair, sat down, and slowly opened her mouth, the magnetic field of the entire negotiation room seemed to instantly reverse. What spilled from Scarlett's lips was not rigid, mechanical, broken English laced with a thick local accent. Instead, it was business English spoken with an incredibly authentic cadence, pure and rounded pronunciation, flawless logical structure, and a highly classical British-American elite flair. Hearing this voice, the arrogance on Mr. Williams' face instantly froze. His spine involuntarily straightened, and his originally nonchalant gaze turned incredibly sharp. Throughout the subsequent negotiations, Scarlett displayed none of the humility or sycophancy typical of the lower class when facing a massive conglomerate. From beginning to end, she maintained a professional posture of neither submission nor arrogance, treating him as an absolute equal. She broke down and analyzed the town's labor cost advantages, the core innovative technical parameters of the newly modified canning machines, and a precise demand analysis of the future North American and European markets as if recounting family treasures. Every word choice was seasoned and precise. Every pause and shift in emphasis perfectly struck the core interest points of a professional multinational investor. Mr. William, please remember that in the current global market, we can ensure that at the same price point, our quality is the absolute best, and under the same quality, our price is the lowest in the entire industry. This is our confidence. Scarlett, in the conclusion of her speech, interlaced her fingers on the table, her gaze locking directly onto William as she delivered this resounding, definitive hammer blow. And this sentence, without a doubt, became the most critical winning move of the entire negotiation. At this exact moment, the coldness and dismissiveness in Mr. Williams' eyes vanished completely, replaced by an undeniable awe, shock, and heartfelt admiration. He took a deep breath, and without even waiting for his assistant to hand him a pen, he proactively stood up, smiling as he extended his right hand to Scarlett. At that moment, everyone knew in their hearts that the international contract symbolizing boundless wealth and hope was no longer a distant, ethereal illusion, but a reality about to be set in stone. Meanwhile, the villainous couple, who had been hiding outside the negotiation room door eavesdropping, witnessed this incredible scene through the crack of the door, a sight that completely shattered their perception. The venom of jealousy spread frantically through their hearts, making their teeth gnash in rage. They could not comprehend, nor could they accept, how this humble woman with no background, whom they once viewed as someone they could stomp on and humiliate at will, could shine so brilliantly before a great international merchant, even compelling the arrogant foreigner to bow in admiration. The massive psychological gap drove them near madness. Unwilling to fail like this, malicious thoughts flashed in their minds. They still wanted to rely on the baseless prejudice in their heads, planning to rush in at this final moment to cause a scene under the label of frauds, attempting to publicly expose what they called a fake tycoon, fake technology scam to completely ruin the deal. However, cold and cruel reality dealt them the most ruthless, ringing mockery in the very next second. As the representatives of both both parties solemnly signed their names on the contract inside the room. Mr. William made a decisive call on the spot, generously ordering a full $300,000 worth of goods and promising that the first deposit would be wired into the town's account within 24 hours. $300,000. In this era, and for this impoverished town, was practically an astronomical sum. As that string of numbers symbolizing wealth and transformation was finalized on the contract, Scarlett's name spread through the entire town in no time as if it had grown wings. It became a resounding household name, heralding her as a hero praised by all. With her absolute intellect and unrivaled hard strength, she delivered a resounding and fatal slap to the faces of those who had once dismissed, humiliated, and plotted against her. At that moment, the negotiation concluded. As Scarlett slowly walked out of the building, she was greeted by the brilliant, golden sunlight piercing through the dark clouds outside. She stood quietly beneath the dazzling sun, the sea breeze rustling her hair, her silhouette appearing grand and radiant under the admiring gazes of everyone. Conversely, the once insufferable villainous couple was thoroughly reduced to jumping clowns in this high-level contest of commerce and wisdom, left only to tremble in a dark corner, awaiting their impending bankruptcy and ruin. With a shift of perspective, the chapter of the story turned to an extremely ordinary factory meeting room elsewhere in the town. The air here was heavy and oppressive, nearly solidifying, permeated by the pungent smoke of cheap cigarettes. Today was supposed to be a vital occasion where the factory management and resident representatives gathered to seriously deliberate on the collective development plans for the town's future. Yet, midway through, the meeting was turned upside down by two uninvited intruders. With a loud bang, the office door was brutally kicked open. Jiang Jiamin and his wife, Song Shining, pushed their way in side by side with ill intentions. The moment they stepped over the threshold, the arrogance and wildness radiating from their entire bodies were written unreservedly across their faces. Jiang Jiamin's neck was stiff and held high. His chin lifted so much it nearly poked the ceiling. His triangular eyes squinted disdainfully at everyone present, embodying the rampant, localized posture of "I call the shots" in this territory. Standing beside him, Song Shining had intentionally applied extremely heavy, almost vulgar makeup today, yet the thick foundation failed to conceal the sickening sharpness and malice leaking from her eyes. The husband and wife completely ignored the meeting in progress, quiet please rule of the room. They intentionally shouted loudly upon entering, their mouths full of foul language, openly challenging the factory's hard-earned management order in the crudest manner, instantly throwing the once orderly meeting into utter chaos. Facing such bottomless, unreasonable disruptions from the couple, the old village party secretary sitting on the presiding platform displayed the immense restraint, cultivation, and psychological fortitude of an old party member and public official. Though his face turned somewhat pale with anger, he took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the rage inside. He slowly stood up, attempting to use the most peaceful, rational, and non-aggressive language to reason with them, hoping they could sit down and talk properly, and respect the fruits of labor the factory workers had stayed up day and night to achieve, as well as the most basic collective rules. However, in the face of extremely selfish and tyrannical individuals, your kindness and restraint are rarely met with respect. Instead, they are foolishly perceived as weakness and vulnerability. Seeing the old secretary's mild tone, Jiang Jiamin showed no intention of reining himself in. On the contrary, his arrogant aura flared even wilder, as if he had received some form of indulgence. The words spewing from his mouth grew increasingly vulgar and malicious, even escalating to personal attacks on the old secretary's family. When the old secretary finally lost his patience, slamming his hand on the table again to maintain order through principles and law, Jiang Jiamin's distorted, morbid vanity and tyrannical emotions were thoroughly ignited. Without any warning, and completely disregarding the consequences, Jiang Jiamin's facial muscles contorted. He suddenly raised his thick right hand hand, swinging his arm in a wide arc. Clap! A sharp, ringing slap echoed down the corridor. The palm, fueled by vicious force and a chest full of hostility, landed squarely against the old village secretary's weathered face. In that instant, the entire meeting room fell into a deathly silence. Everyone's breath hitched, but immediately following, the workers and resident representatives who snapped to their senses erupted into an earth-shattering uproar of fury. This single slap did not just shatter the surface piece of the scene, it pushed the Zhang couple into absolute opposition against every righteous soul present. The conflict was driven to an unreconstructible climax at this second. The surrounding villagers and workers, who already harbored dissatisfaction toward the Jiang couple on ordinary days, could no longer tolerate such malicious behavior of bullying the weak in broad daylight. The blood and sense of justice in everyone's bones were fully activated. The waves of anger surged like a tsunami, crashing wave after wave onto the couple standing arrogantly in the center of the room. Dozens of furious young workers and villagers, their eyes bloodshot, closed in directly, blocking their retreat completely. Faced with severe reprimands and the angry crowd, Zhang Jiaming remained stubborn. His brain, washed by alcohol and anger, lost all reason. He showed not a shred of remorse or fear. Instead, like a cornered, maddened beast, his eyes turned blood red. He cursed foully while wildly flailing his fat arms, casting final threats and intimidation at the crowd trying to approach. His hysterical barking sounded exceptionally piercing and laughable in the empty factory workshop. Right at this hair-raising moment, when a massive physical conflict was about to erupt between both parties, the public security officers who received the emergency call finally made a decisive entrance. The door was pushed open once more, and the appearance of those olive-green uniforms representing the dignity of national law acted like a powerful sedative, instantly smoothing over the out-of-control chaos. The Jiang couple, who were just barking like mad dogs, saw their arrogance completely deflated within a tenth of a second before the powerful deterrence of law and cold handcuffs. Their legs went weak, nearly slumping onto the ground. As they were led out of the factory gates by the police officers like two drenched dogs with their heads hung low, their miserable, wretched state formed an incredibly stark contrast to the unbridled arrogance they displayed upon entering. Meanwhile, the wronged old village secretary, clutching his heavily swollen cheek, was urgently rushed to the nearest hospital, supported by the aching, concerned hands of the workers. At that moment, everyone understood in their hearts, tyranny is only temporary, while justice and the law will forever crush oppression. As the storm subsided, night gradually enveloped the land, and the city's clamor and daytime strifes finally dissolved into tranquility. In an extremely secluded, wooded corner behind the factory, where few people usually ventured, Scarlett and Evan walked side by side beneath the bright, clean moonlight. The atmosphere here was entirely distinct from the daytime farce, filled with ultimate serenity, peace, and deep affection. Because Scarlett had endured so much chaos and exhaustion during the day, a trace of unconcealed fatigue still lingered between her brows, despite being safe now. Evan saw this and felt a sharp pang of heartache. He gently extended his strong right arm, tenderly yet firmly pulling his wife's fragile shoulder closer into his embrace, attempting to use his body heat to provide her with silent comfort and a shoulder to lean on. The two maintained a slow pace, communicating in very soft voices about the old village secretary's injuries at the hospital. Upon learning from Evan that the old secretary only suffered minor soft tissue contusions, was out of serious danger, and was already resting on an IV drip. The taut string of anxiety in Scarlett's heart finally relaxed completely. Under the silver, veil-like moonlight, Evan slowly stopped his tracks, turning around to gaze deeply at his beloved. Beyond the overflowing tenderness in his eyes, there shone a near-pious persistence. He lifted Scarlett's somewhat cold hand, breathing a warm puff of air over it, and began to whisper to her about the birthday surprise he had meticulously prepared half a month ago. A surprise that had nearly gone down the drain due to the daytime disruptions. At that moment, there were no expensive flowers or luxury restaurants around them, only the chirping of summer insects and the bright moon overhead. Yet, the sincere warmth forged between them through hardships far surpassed all the prosperity in the world. Time flowed quietly amidst their whispers, and the scene transitioned indoors. Inside this remotely located, simply furnished, and almost meager flat, a heartwarming family birthday celebration was quietly unfolding. The hands of the old-fashioned wall clock already pointed to 3:15 a.m. In this silent, deep night, to make up for the fright and grievances his wife suffered during the day, Evan went to great length to have someone buy a delicate birthday cake from the city. Though the cake's exterior looked somewhat simple given the scarce material conditions, lacking fancy decorations, every single rose meticulously piped with red cream embodied Evan's heavy, unreserved love for Scarlett. As the colorful candles were lit, the flickering, warm candlelight danced gently in the air, reflecting deep within the couple's eyes, painting their gazes with immense warmth and resolve. Right then, the bedroom door was pushed open softly. Two children wearing pajamas with innocent and genuine faces, their older brother Xiaohe and younger sister Xiaoxi rubbed their sleepy eyes and ran over on bare feet. They used their childish, milk-toned voices filled with love to shout in unison, "Happy birthday, Mommy! Mommy is the best mommy in the whole wide world." At that moment, looking at her sensible children and affectionate husband, Scarlett's once fortified heart was instantly shattered by happiness. Her eyes welled up and tears glistened under the candlelight. This was the best footnote to a birthday she had ever received in her life. Evan stood to the side, his eyes slightly moist as well. He gently caressed the little heads of his children, looking up at his wife. His promise at this moment carried immense weight, every word worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Scarlett, I have great news for you. Our marriage application was officially approved by the higher-ups today. Once we smoothly finish rushing this busiest batch of international canning orders, I am absolutely going to throw you the grandest, most magnificent wedding ceremony in this town, making everyone envy you. The warm image of this family of four hugging tightly beneath the flickering candlelight became the most dazzling, warmest beam of light in this difficult, grueling life. However, the waves of real life never completely ceased their turbulent machinations for the sake of brief warmth. A few days later, Jiang Jiamin, who had just been bailed out of the town detention center for gathering a crowd to fight and publicly assaulting a public official, failed to use his time behind the cold iron bars to reflect deeply on his series of malicious misdeeds. Instead, like a thorough gambler, his thoughts slithered into a deeper abyss of crime because he had long loitered in underground casinos in the city. He was already saddled with an unimaginable amount of monumental gambling debt before going in. On the very night of his release, several hideous, burly loan sharks cornered him directly in a dark alleyway. In the darkness, a cold, sharp dagger pressed tightly against Jiang Jiamin's fat, greasy throat. The bone-chilling cold and faint stinging pain radiating from the blade reminded him of how close the threat of death was, like the grim reaper knocking on his door. The loan shark's gaze was ferocious, and every ruthless warning to demand repayment within a strict deadline sounded like a death warrant read aloud. To preserve his miserable life before the final deadline, the remaining shards of humanity deep within Jiang Jiamin vanished entirely. A seed of extreme selfishness and evil began to sprout frantically once more. Rolling his cunning eyes, he finally locked his sinister, greedy gaze onto the thriving factory and Scarlett, who held massive amounts of capital. Upon returning home, like a venomous snake spitting his fork, he began dragging his wife, Song Shining, in constantly brainwashing her with unconscionable, morally bankrupt fallacies. He sought to fill the bottomless pit of his gambling debts by fabricating rumors, executing commercial fraud, and even going so far as to falsify accounts to extract and embezzle the factory's upcoming overseas startup bonds. Driven by insatiable desire, this couple whose eyes were completely blinded by greed stepped irrevocably, step by step, toward the abyss of crime. Yet they still sat at the edge of their bed, believing their plotting was flawless and masterfully clever, while their conspiracy was quietly brewing. a farce taking place in the town's sole luxury, Dahua Photo Studio erupted in a manner no one anticipated. That afternoon, Scarlett and Evan arrived at this photo studio specifically to prepare photos for their upcoming marriage certificate. However, the receptionist in charge of welcoming guests, Assistant Zhang, was a notorious snob who judged people entirely by their covers. It just so happened that Jiang Jianmin and his wife, Song Shining, also walked in at that moment, wearing a set of highly flamboyant, wealthy outfits rented from Lord knows where just to keep up appearances. The moment Assistant Zhang saw the designer logos on the Jiang couple, his face instantly bloomed into a radiant smile. Yet, turning his head to see the simply dressed Evan and his wife, whose clothes were even slightly washed out, his face soured immediately. Within that narrow, enclosed reception room, to flatter the major clients in his eyes, Assistant Zhang began to subject Evan and Scarlett to biting, sarcastic humiliation and eviction. With his hands on his hips, Assistant Zhang's ugly demeanor was on full display. Vile phrases drenched in supreme contempt, such as, "Where did these paupers come from? Look at your own status before squeezing in here, and get out quickly, don't dirty our esteemed guests' eyes," shot out like a rapid-fire cannon. This was not only a massive insult to the character and dignity of Evan and his wife, but also a total collapse of his own professional ethics. However, what the Zhang couple and Assistant Zhang never dreamed of was that this self-righteous, elitist humiliation would precisely become the fuse that exposed Evan's deeply hidden, mysterious, true identity. Just as Assistant Zhang was shouting to call security to throw Evan and his wife out, the doors of the photo studio were violently pushed open. The supreme chief head of the Zhou multinational group entered aggressively, flanked by over a dozen high-level executives. The moment the chief head spotted Evan, his expression shifted drastically. He practically sprinted over, and under the horrified gazes of everyone, he bowed deeply to Evan, shouting respectfully, "President Zhou." This title was like an invisible, deafening slap that could shatter eardrums, landing squarely on the faces of Assistant Zhang and the Zhang couple. The chief head turned his head, his face terrifyingly dark. Without any hesitation, he announced on the spot the immediate firing and industry-wide blacklisting of Assistant Zhang, and directly halted all cooperation with Jiang Jianmin's company. At that moment of absolute reversal, when the truth came to light, the shock, terror, and despair written across the faces of the snob and the villains delivered the heaviest retaliation against them. This reversal was not merely an absolute crushing of social status and wealth. It was the most potent, satisfying indictment against the snobbish societal trend of judging people by their appearances and fawning over the rich while despising the poor. At the very end of the story, the dust settled, the conspiracy shattered, and the wicked ultimately received the severe punishment they deserved under the law. On the eve of their highly anticipated grand wedding inside the simple photo studio that had once witnessed humiliation and reversal now, fought out by even the worldly noise and calculations faded away, leaving only pure affection. Soft, warm magnesium lights adjusted their angles in midair, painting the entire room in a dreamlike hue. The lens focused, freezing their most beautiful, happiest smiles in this lifetime. When Scarlett slowly changed into her tailor-made, fire-red traditional Chinese bridal gown, adorned with exquisite embroidery inside the fitting room, stepping gracefully before the camera and before Evan, the awe, shock, and intense, undissolvable adoration flashing in Evan's eyes at that exact moment were so pure, so burning. Along this journey, they had weathered monstrous storms together, endured the hardships of absolute destitution, and hand-in-hand shattered countless conspiracies and malicious traps from the shadows. Yet, at this precise moment, when the shutter clicked within this eternal second frozen frozen by happiness. Their fingers were tightly locked, the warmth from their palms radiating fierce and real. They gazed deeply into each other's eyes. It felt as though as long as they held each other's hands, they possessed the courage to defy the entire world, possessing the most perfect, complete universe of their own.